The D and Davis Show.
D and Davis, the show. We are back. The guys held it down last week, but I am here.
He's back, y'all.
My foot still hurts, but I'm here. Blessed be. Blessed be. There's been a lot of good news going around, stuff that we can't talk about, even though one probably going to see us hosting Late Night on the Score soon.
And hear you.
A little bit. Yeah. You going to hear us?
They're probably only going to hear us. They ain't going to see us.
Okay. Well, we're going to video some of it, so.
Yeah, we got something.
So you're definitely going to hear that. So definitely we appreciate you rocking with us. Holding us down, rather. I am Kenneth Davis. The next voice you hear is
D. Demond Spurl. What's going on, everybody? Hey, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at D and Davis Show. Once again, it's at D and Davis Show. Facebook.com/D and Davis Show. iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Music, Stitcher, the TuneIn app. We're on Anchor, what kicks you over to Spotify and the YouTube. All right. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Demonz1, DEMONZE1. Ken is on Twitter at That's Davis. Executive producer of the D and Davis Show and D and Davis Flip, Ryan Bukoveski. You can find Ryan on Twitter at Ryan B. Ski.
All right. Off top, one thing I want to talk about is ex-Astros pitcher Mike Fears.
Off the top.
Team stole signs with camera. This is an article from Jeff Passan for ESPN. Astros used a center field camera to help steal signs during the 2017 championship season. A former pitcher for the team told The Athletic, a practice that would have run afoul of rules against the using technology for advantages, which prompted an investigation. Fears, who now pitches for the Oakland A's, told the website that he warned teammates on the Detroit Tigers and the A's that the Astros hitters had used a video piped into a monitor near a dugout to decode signs and relay them to the hitters during the games. He said this: I just want the game to be cleaned up a little bit because there are guys who are losing their jobs because they're going into this and they're not knowing. Fierce said in the story, young guys are getting hit all around the first couple of innings starting the game and they just get sit down. It's BS on that end. It's ruining for the job for younger guys, the guys who are prepared, but the most people don't. That's why I told my team. We had a lot of young guys from Detroit in 2018 trying to make a name and establish themselves. I want to help them out and say, hey, this stuff really does go on. Just be prepared.
Well, this is the thing. Are they just a team that just got caught? Because it wouldn't be shocking if they went so far as now using cameras. That means they ain't the only team that's doing this.
Exactly.
Yes.
They're not the only team.
They can't.
Well, the Red Sox use their Apple iWatches.
Yeah.
Oh, give me that story.
Remember, if you ain't
You don't remember
cheating,
that
ain't
from, what was it, 2 years ago?
They was using Apple iWatches to do what?
They were somehow coordinating with each other through the watches to steal signs of what's going on with what the Yankees were doing, whether it was pitches or what they were about to throw or what kind of moves that the catcher was trying to give to the pitcher.
Hey, man, what's the old saying? If he ain't cheating, he ain't trying.
If you ain't cheating,
And it's baseball culture, right?
It really is baseball culture to try to find any kind of way to figure out. Because you know why? The hardest thing to do in professional sports is to hit a baseball. So if you can find any kind of way to have an advantage to know what the pitcher is doing or what he's going to throw, you are going to take it. It's hard to hit a baseball. Hard to hit a baseball. So I'm not that shocked about it, but the going to the level of using cameras to actually, use and still signs and stuff, that's pretty high tech.
Yeah.
Dirty D.
But I mean, you would think in this world where everything is high tech now, so the ways that you used to cheat in the past, it's only an added advantage. You know what I'm saying? Think about someone being out in the what's the hit zone out there in the outfield.
The outfield?
The batter's eye or whatever.
Yeah, the batter's eye.
The batter's eye.
Yeah.
Someone sitting there getting low in the batter's eye, paying attention to what's going on. Maybe in the past they had some binoculars and a walkie-talkie. Now all you need is a damn iPhone, right? Real quick, this is what the Astros general manager said. He said, I've heard what you've all heard, which is allegations. This isn't the first one I've heard, not the first one you've all heard. Like I said, I think the best course of action is not to speculate right now. We're going to look into it with the cooperation of MLB when we find out what anything there is. The allegation of cheating by the Astros has chased the organization for years, going back to the 2017 World Series victory against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Opponents playing at Houston's Minute Maid Park we're on a constant lookout for signs of subterfuge. Sources from multiple teams told ESPN before the World Series, members of the Washington Nationals organization received warning that from others around the league, beware of everything from flashing lights to whistling to a person relaying signs from the train that runs above the field.
Wow.
Listen, I'm tell you this: if that train doesn't stop and they don't alter the speed and it's going at a decent speed and they're sitting there going past and catching it,
Oh yeah.
I give them props. You put in a lot of work for your cheating.
That's a lot of work. How can we use this train up here? We can use it some kind of way.
Is that what the Brewers are doing when they go down that slide?
Yeah,
Real quick.
yeah. Like, what are you pitching? Slider.
And was that same GM that said his assistant GM is an upstanding fellow?
Yes, and then a few days later was like, "Get your ass out of here."
The upstanding thief. Oh, you got caught. Off the top, I got one for you. And our guys, Tony Gill, shout out to Tony Gill, sent us. He just sent a text to us all, just said Cap or Kaepernick. So Colin Kaepernick, free agent, if you want to say, on the street right now, former of the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. He is holding a basically a tryout or a workout for all 32 teams in the NFL. And the NFL sent out a memo to all the teams like, hey, just to let y'all know, Cap said y'all can come through and watch him throw the ball around a little bit.
Yeah, I like the tone. That's just what the NFL.
Yeah, just want to let y'all know. He out here. He talking about he wants y'all to come see him.
And remember, if you sign him, you pay for it.
Yeah. Right. Wink, wink. You better not go. So this is my question. So how many teams are going to show up to this?
No, they have to show up. That way they're really interested, but nobody signs
At
up.
least 3 to 2 to 3.
You say 2 to 3?
Yeah.
Ryan?
Man. Yeah, I can't decide on the cynical part of this or the conspiracy part. I would think there should be at least 10 teams out there.
I agree.
The reality should be about
Without if he is able to actually be signed without a wink and behind closed door agreement with everybody in the NFL, there should be at least 10 teams.
I agree with you with that. I say between 10 to 12 teams should probably be out there. The Chicago Bears should be one of those teams. But I don't know if anyone's going to show up. I can honestly say I bet
Somebody
you.
will.
Who? But this is the thing.
Carolina or New England.
If somebody,
I think Chucky
wait a minute. If
but I don't know
somebody,
if he would do it to Carr right now.
if somebody would be out there, somebody would have already talked to him. No one is even talking to this guy. He just won a settlement against them. And these guys are rich billionaires that probably hold grudges and don't forget anybody who stole a nickel from them. So why would they go out there?
I think it's the PR. PR
for
opportunity.
what? They've been signing jamokes off the street that nobody even knows.
Seattle, they paraded around how they looked into Colin Kaepernick.
Man, they told him come in and have a cup of coffee. Now send your ass home back
Baltimore
out
did
here.
the same thing. Hey, we came close. Look at us. Pretty progressive over here in B-Town.
It wouldn't shock me. I hope you two are right. It wouldn't shock me if nobody went.
Man,
it
I
wouldn't
feel
shock
like
me at
somebody's
all.
got to go.
Ryan, if they would have talked to him already. It would have heard something. Something would have leaked.
Emotions and it's like tumbleweeds gonna go past.
Yeah. I think the media is definitely going to be out there to see who comes, but they'd have no reason to go. They have no reason to go. To save face, what face? What face? They don't like his black ass.
Shouldn't the NFL be like, hey, send some people over there?
No. He took money from me. He took $100 from me. Bump him.
I think they should send some people there.
It would be nice.
Because
I think
doesn't
it
that
helps
open
to-
the questioning?
I think it helps to quiet the noise down. And if you like, no, just wait, because if you like, look at the thing that the ESPN's done this past week. Veterans Day just took place yesterday, but for the last 5 days, ESPN has been running a lot of athletes talking about their appreciation for the armed services, which is great. But when I'm watching it, there's still a twinge in me that's like, this is still just to quiet the cap noise, like to show that there's that connection between these sports and the Army, or the armed forces, that was somewhat strained from people not understanding what Cap's protest was.
Right,
And how the
right.
other side used it to galvanize the armed forces and people to be like, look at what they're doing, dislike it. You know what I'm saying? Because that wasn't what he was protesting. So I think in that the NFL could be using it to say, listen, we've tried. You know, teams went out and saw them. That's on them if they decide to bring them in or not.
I hope you two are right. I just think based on what we've seen, they don't care about Colin Kaepernick no kind of way. Somebody, as Ryan said, 10 teams should be calling this brother right now. We haven't
Actually,
heard
more than
anything.
that. If we're really talking about backup, if we're talking adding
Fine.
backup jobs,
All 32 of them should be out there then.
I mean, at least
as you
15.
said.
I mean, think about the teams that lost quarterbacks this
Right.
year.
And they signed any jabroni, any jamoke off the street. And they're like, Colin Kaepernick who?
Plus, if like you're a team like the Bengals and you benched Andy Dalton, why wouldn't you?
How about this? The Chicago Bears should be looking at Colin Kaepernick.
Well, you know they love their Mitch.
You know what? We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the article from the Tribune, obviously. But I think Tony's right. I think they might resign him.
I don't know. You mean the Dan Reeder, Rich Campbell article?
Yeah.
They're going to resign Mitch? Resign to what? They don't have. Why would they resign him when they still have him for next year?
They could use the franchise.
They don't have to franchise.
I'll put it this.
They have him.
They can have him for 2 years.
2
if
years.
they want.
Let me walk that back. I think they're going to do everything and anything in their power, try to make sure he succeeds. And every year they have possible rights over him.
I think it's time if
I don't know, that could be off the top.
if Ryan Pace really wants to keep his job, I think it's time to get that Mitch narrative out of there. Because I think and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm talking about what I would do. I think that when you look at Mitch and that question, and I know having a discussion earlier in this before the season started, or at the beginning of the season, was that Ryan Pace could still probably keep his job if he doesn't sign Mitch. But Mitch has played so bad this year. I feel like bringing him back next year. I'm not saying they won't, but I would get his ass out of there and do my mea culpas and try to bring in someone that can either be the bridge gap holdover guy, if not even better, so that the narrative will change and people won't keep bringing this Mitch stuff up. Because the last thing you want to do is next year go through this again, the draining energy that it caused, and people still pointing like, and you the MF that brought his butt here? Like, I wouldn't want you. This is loss. It's a sunken cost. Don't sit there and chase bad money, because you're lucky this not a Sam Bradford deal. All right. The last time you had to pay a rookie significant amount of money, which of course means the quarterback's going to get paid even
second
more.
Pick overall too.
Yeah. So that you moved up
to get three. You traded 3 picks for.
Listen, dude, get from up out of this, because it's not going to work. It's clear. And when we get into that article, just some of the things that Ryan Pace was allegedly going through his head, and it's really what he heaped on Mitch. Ryan Pace looked at Mitch as like a 12 that was like a 7, but he was like, don't you see it? And a lot of people were saying, listen, but I'll say this for my last part off top. I was listening to Bernstein and McKnight, and the caller called up and pointed out racism, and it's been something that I've wanted to talk about this, but I haven't had the way that I actually want to break it down and explain it, because I don't want to just sound like someone who's pulling a race card. But I think it has to do with comfortability and being able to relate. And sometimes it's not that someone is actively being racist. It's that they're blinded by what they've been around, and it's harder for them to see something differently. I'm not saying that he has anger in his heart, but if you really look at it, if Ryan Pace says you have to make bold moves.
Are we going to talk about the article?
This is my last part.
Okay.
If you have to make bold moves, the boldest move at the time would have been going for Mahomes, because he was looking at the dude with the crazy skill. He was the buck, the wild buck that couldn't be harnessed. If you're talking about
Brett Favre is what they were calling.
if you're saying bold moves, then again, later on after we do our Bears breakdown, because we're going to get the Bears A props. After we do our Bears breakdown, we'll get into the article, because it's damning to say the least.
Yeah.
Off top, which Cubs player, if one has to be traded, would you prefer to be traded?
I was hearing the whole thing about Wilson Contreras changing his avatar pictures and talking about maybe moving him.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the most likely right now, because the Bryant grievance thing is still going on.
So
he's not going to be moved. Yeah, they have to figure out if he's under contract for 2 years or just 1 year.
And you have to blow their socks off to get Javi.
And
so, is it a possibility that they really blow up this team?
I think they're going to trade Wilson. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand really what's the point of keeping him, even though he can be on electric behind the plate and at the plate, but he goes through these lull periods where he's not very good.
So do you think the championship window is still open as a Cubs fan?
I mean, it's hard to say it's open if guys don't improve. I mean, if you got the same team. We haven't
seen that. Get the same team, that answer is no then, right?
Because obviously they have to change their identity. They have to get more guys that can hit and make contact consistently because this offense is completely broken. But I mean, is Anthony Rizzo a bad player? If he had a better supporting cast around him, would he be a better player potentially? I don't know. So that's why it's hard for me to say. But if you get basically the same roster, no, they're not in their championship.
Okay, so if that's the question, then do they go ahead and blow it up and start over?
It's not going to blow up.
I don't know how much you can blow it up.
They're going to try to.
Oh, you don't think they put feelers out for all them? For Javi, for Chris Bryant?
But are you getting a nickel on the dollar?
No, I think you can get some good farm pieces for those two guys if you really wanted to, especially Javi.
ESPN today. I think it was Waddle and Silva and Jesse Rogers was on. I believe. I hope it wasn't 670. But one of the points that was being made is they view it as trying to do what the Yankees did with Gleiber for Chapman and the moves that they made and how quickly the Yankees got back up to where they are right now. Like they would try to keep some of these pieces, trade away. Like if Chris Bryant is moved, try to get 3 or 4 big time assets.
Yes.
Which they're close to coming to the pros.
Yes.
And then be back in it and by 2021.
But they also went out there
which
and
is
signed,
wishful thinking.
But they also went out there and signed Stanton. They was able to go out there.
Which they didn't though.
No, they don't. But I mean,
that one they regret.
But
they traded for Stanton.
They traded for Stanton. Thank you. They traded for Stanton. But they was able to move pieces to get big time. See,
but they gave away
Yankees,
nothing
though.
for Stanton too.
Right. But that's the thing about
helps.
the
That's
thing
because it's contract.
Well, and also Jeter.
Yeah, but I mean, it was how many teams?
Yeah, but if you don't care about money, it doesn't really matter.
I'm not. That's the point that I'm making.
But this new Steinbrenner family kind of cares, though.
But it was still they have the Yes Network. How many teams could absorb that contract? There's
not that many.
10 maybe.
Angels,
and look,
Dodgers, Giants,
maybe the Padres
Cubs,
now.
Cubs, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then also we have to remember at the time how many wanted him like that, because even though he's an awesome hit home run hitter, he's a flawed player at the plate. So how many people are willing at that? And we got to remember, this is that contract that he has. This is before Cass was getting all that type of money. Like, you know, now that we're sitting here seeing what all the guys made last year. When you
he's kind of cheap.
Yeah, when you talk about Machado, when you talk about Bryce Harper, when you talk about Arenado, now like you're saying that contract is like 22. That's a nothing. You know, but at that time, 2 years ago,
it was big.
It was, and they didn't know Aaron Judge was going to be Aaron Judge.
Exactly.
So
But
that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, but the thing about the Yankees, though, they are the Yankees. I mean, the Cubs, yes, they won a championship. They're in it, but they're not the Yankees. People aren't trying to run and say, I'm going to play for the Chicago Cubs. No, they want to run and steal and play. I want to play for the New York Yankees. So if you have a chance to move some pieces, like a Chris Bryant, like a Javier Baez, or anybody else to start over,
Baez
you got to really start thinking about that. I'll put it like this. How about this? There's a few guys we grew up watching that stayed at one team their entire career, or maybe moved from one to another, but they was a main clog. Derek Jeter. I kind of want to say Barry, but Barry was a main clog even when San Francisco wasn't all that great, but they built around him.
I mean, but you ain't counting out his Pittsburgh days. He's in Pittsburgh for a second.
He's in Pittsburgh for about 8 years at least?
Yeah.
Like 8 years. You got Derek Jeter, who's always been a Yankee, who they built around him. Is Mike Trout nowadays.
Have they built around him?
They haven't, but what I'm trying to say is,
but they're trying to.
But they're a guy that's always been there. Do we see any of those kind of players on the north side of Chicago? Is that Javi? Is that Chris Bryant? I don't know. If you have a question, and if somebody calls, I think you take a listen, because that farm system sucks.
Yeah, you got to listen to everything right now. You're not saying no to anybody. Javi's tough because he plays shortstop. Who's your other shortstop? Unless you're getting a shortstop back. But then that hurts his value. Because if you're getting a major league ready shortstop that has potential.
Yeah, but a teammate wants somebody that's ready to go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, could you go to Cleveland and trade for Francisco Lindor and maybe try to sign him long term?
Yeah, but does Cleveland want to be back in the same situation that they're in with Lindor? I get what you're saying, because Javi has at least 2 more years. How many more years of control does he have?
I think he has
3.
Yeah, I think he has 3.
So yeah, that's enough years to sit there. But if I'm the Indians, I want a fresh kid, because I don't want to be back in a situation where I got a superstar that I can't afford to pay him again. So I'd rather have someone younger than Javi.
Because like the other positions, like Chris Bryant,
Yeah.
You could trade him and you could find a third baseman on your roster that can fill in that spot.
I get what you're saying.
You can't do that really with shortstop.
He's a UFA in 2022.
It's 3 years.
So you get him 2020, 2021, and then
2022.
yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want to be in that same situation. If but he's broken into the majors now, I would want to get my hands on someone like Fernando Tatis Jr. that I know I got for 6 years, basically.
But if you dangle somebody like a Javier Baez, you might be able to get that.
But see, this is the thing,
prospect.
too. They may not think that they're still in contention in Cleveland.
They don't. Yeah, they're blowing that up.
Yeah, they're blowing it up. Yeah.
So
right.
I don't need a player on the that's here already. I need a player that in 3 years when we're back, when we're retooled this team again, that he can come up, but I still have control of him. That's what I would desire in that situation.
The kind of situation the White Sox are in, with their farm system. Yeah. All right. Enough off the top. We're going to come on back and break down a Bears victory. Hey, haven't said that in a while. D and Davis Show.
Hey, this is Rich Campbell from the Chicago Tribune, and you're listening to The D and Davis Show.
Shotgun, Driscoll. Driscoll steps up. Driscoll will dart one. End zone. Incomplete. And a flag down.
Over the line of scrimmage. Would not have counted if it was complete.
And the Bears are going to hold on.
Pass, offense. The passer was beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. That penalty's declined. That's the end of the game.
D and Davis Show. We are back, and we're ready to talk about something we haven't talked about in about a month. 4 losses, and that's in between a bye.
Since September 29th.
Bear down. The Bears won.
Nah, bro.
A game. Bear down.
Please.
No.
No.
I can't get that hype about this.
No.
The Bears are now
Enjoy
4-5.
that Kool-Aid, bro.
The Bears. Hey, listen. I'm past
I
that.
don't even know what you're drinking it out of.
I ain't drinking none of that.
You know it's really good Kool-Aid because it looks orange and navy.
Ugh. Bears are now 4-5. Everybody. They beat the Lonely Lions
In the hunt.
The Detroit Motor City Kittens, I like to call them. Detroit's now 3-5-1 without my starting quarterback, who I won again in fantasy. Second best record.
Oh, I hate you.
I won by 2 points. By the skin of my teeth.
Hate you.
Matthew Stafford was out that game, so they went to their backup.
Fractures in his back again.
Yeah, man, that's kind of serious.
It's the same one from last year.
I know. I wonder how much longer he's going to be playing, because my nickname for him for a long time when we first started was Matthew Glassford.
But he stopped that.
But it's going to catch back up to him, man.
Got a lot of nicknames involving the Lions.
Oh, yeah, I have a lot of them. Detroit City, I mean.
With his wife had been sick in the past.
Yeah, man.
You may not want to get away.
Wait a minute. Stafford's been playing for is it about 14 years?
About 14 years.
14, 15 years?
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be about at least my age. I'm 37. Maybe a little bit younger than me.
I think he's a little younger.
Yeah, maybe 30.
35?
A little bit. I think
34 and 5, 30 years old?
My guess is 34.
34. But the Bears won, everybody. Hey, listen, they almost gave it back to Detroit, but they said, I guess we'll go ahead and keep this.
31.
31? That's
How many years has he been in the league?
What, about 11 years then?
Well, give me a second.
I know he's been over 10 years now.
Oh, Matthew Stafford is just... Yeah, I think he was. When he came in the league, that was one of the things. He was really young when he came into the league.
What, 19?
I mean, it was one of those things like he was a year younger than what you would have thought he was, I believe, when he first came into the league.
He has been with the Detroit Lions since 2009. NFL Draft 2009, round 1, pick 1.
That's 10 years in. 10 years. Wow. Yeah. Excuse me. Seems like you've been in the league a lot longer than that.
That's because we had Cutler.
I would take Cutler right now.
Was he there for Grossman too?
No.
Or Orton?
Maybe Orton. Because, he was there for Orton because, remember, we traded Orton to get Cutler.
Man, he's seen a lot of Bears quarterbacks himself.
He has. All right, let's give you some of the stats on the game.
No, he came right after Kyle Orton was done.
Right.
Okay.
All right, he goes some stats for you. Mitchell Trubisky went 16 for 23, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns. David Montgomery was a leading on the ground, 60 yards. Let's see. Allen Robinson had 86 yards receiving. Tyler Gabriel, Tariq Cohen.
Taylor.
I say Taylor. Tyler Gabriel.
No, it is Taylor.
Oh, it's Taylor. Oh, it's Taylor. I'm sorry. Why is it Tyler?
He doubled down with that.
I said
His name is Tyler, damn it.
It's Taylor Gabriel. I'm sorry about that. 1 touchdown. Tariq Cohen had a touchdown. And Ben, was it Brockhart? Wow.
Broniker.
Broniker. There you go. This is bum. He got a touchdown as well.
He's from Harvard.
Yeah, whatever.
Taylor Gabriel is making us keeps reminding us why Atlanta didn't keep him. One thing, since I wasn't here last week, it was offensively. It was a lot of last week. You were in a situation where, and I'm not absolving Mitch, but his receivers were just dropping all over the place. And it goes to one of the things I was talking about the week before, when the person that you're dependent on is consistently not giving enough, the attention to detail and the effort starts to lack.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when the thing about that pass that he threw to Anthony Miller, where Miller would have got killed. And that was he had about 3 of those.
He was hanging folks out to dry.
Like
Mitchell Trubisky was trying to get dudes killed.
I went to him and Nagy was like, man, throw it anyway, right?
Have we ever seen a receiver walk up to a quarterback and grab him by the face mask? Like, man, if you get me killed out here.
Not grab by the face mask, but I've definitely seen them like, dude, what the hell are you doing out here?
Right, yeah.
One thing.
He stretched a few guys out.
It was good. You did see, and I think it was because of the switch at from center and guard with James Daniel and Cody Whitehair. You saw an improvement in the running game, but it reminded us why Whitehair wasn't the center anymore, because he was doing the same thing where he's terrible when it comes to the exchange. Like when it comes to shotgun,
he's terrible.
That bad boy is coming out any way, any different way, and he's consistently been like
and
that.
That's the best thing about Trubisky. He likes to play out of the shotgun.
Do you guys think that it was that good of a game for the run game because of how bad Detroit's defense is?
It was that good of a game because of how bad the run game has been. I take your point, and it's valid, but still, I think it had to do with running up the middle. Like and it wasn't like just terrific, but you saw it was much more of a push from the initial contact. And I don't. And let me say this too. Yeah. Cody Whitehair came from, as far as being here as a Bear, a run-oriented offense. Since James Daniels has been a Bear, he hasn't been in. He's only been here 2 years. He's been with Matt Nagy. With John Fox, you knew what you were getting off the bus doing. Yep. So Cody Whitehair comes from that line that we're getting off the ball, we're pushing. James Daniels being a Bear is basically backpedaling for the most part, and I don't think he's as stout at initial contact as Cody Whitehair is. I don't know if he'll be that in the future. Perhaps he will when and if they make the move back. But that was just some of my observations from the game.
I would say this. I don't think they ran the ball enough.
Well, they're not gonna.
David Montgomery should have had about 25 touches.
He doesn't wanna.
I don't understand this. I don't understand Matt Nagy.
He wants his offense, D. You didn't pay him to run the I formation.
You're trying to screw a screw in the wall. He's trying to screw a screw in the wall, and they say, hey, man, here's a screwdriver. No, I'm going to get it done with this book. Dude, that's not what you're supposed to use. That's not what you have. You have a run. Listen, if you can't pass it, what do? You run the ball. 17 carries for this young brother, and we know if you feed him the ball, he's going to give you something productive. He's going to give you positive yards. 17 touches?
That's if they can get some holes in up front.
But even if you keep falling forward, Ken, you play football. If you keep falling forward, a hole is going to eventually happen. And what you said about David Montgomery was kind of worrying about you. He doesn't fall enough.
You saw that.
All right, damn it. You keep on moving.
That kid gonna get hurt.
He might.
That kid's gonna get hurt.
He might, but you know what?
Stop putting more bad juju on here.
God, it's just clear observation.
But he keeps on moving. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's time to go down.
That's all I'm trying to say. Matt Nagy's trying to do. He's trying to play with a team that he doesn't have. That's been the main theme coming out of a lot of these.
Well, he's a quarterback, and he wants that quarterback.
See where it was just after the line of scrimmage? I believe a Bears guard was on the ground. And he was in a crowd, and he leaped over the guard, and it was like, dude, stop playing with your life like that. Like, don't. Right? He got hit right then, like, dude, shorty. I love it, but slow down. Listen, I know Saquon Barkley says he's not going to do load management. He's not going to be shut down. Listen,
they gonna shut him down.
Take
goodness.
a little hint from that.
Yeah,
this ain't the Bears.
Look at Todd Gurley.
This ain't the Bears season that you want to go full bore with. Like, because the thing is with David Montgomery, if the Bears can straighten out their offensive line in next year, he can prove his value.
Absolutely.
This isn't the
because they're still gonna have the coach that doesn't want to run it though.
Yeah, but they'll still have the general manager that moved up to get him and wants to prove his point.
Well, he moved up to get his quarterback too.
Oh, yeah, but he's tried to do everything. He tried to do everything to make that quarterback successful. Look at what he did in free agency last year.
Yeah, but I don't think he feels that burden with the running back.
No, I agree with that. I don't think you would, but I do think when you're holding on to positive notes, you want to sit there and accentuate those positive notes. And he could.
You would think.
So you think Pace would go to Nagy like, listen, man, you need to run this kid. You think he'll do that?
I think not just run him, but involve him in the offense.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
involve
right.
him in the offense more.
A little bit more.
Find ways to be more creative. But I'm not talking about this season. I'm talking about next year if they feel like they've sold up some of the parts. Why, for instance, the offensive line. I mean, it's Nagy's philosophy, but a lot of it still is the fact that this offensive line, man, their mentality.
I'm not saying it's good.
No, it's
not good.
Their mentality isn't right.
But you know what?
They're not just aggressive.
But I've mentioned, I forgot who I was talking to about this on Twitter. It might have been guy Jack Silverstein. I think I made a point of when Mitch goes on the field, he brings everybody else down. Because they got to see him walking. They got to be shaking his head like, look at this mother.
That's why they're not catching the ball.
So they don't have any joy right now. And it can be coming from the coach, and it can come from the quarterback. But when you don't have any joy, any passion in your profession, you're not going to perform at the highest peak that you should. And if they don't feel as if their skills are getting put in the right place or being used correctly, they're not going to perform that well.
It's nothing worse in any sport to not be able to score, let alone a sport where
Welcome to Chicago.
Yeah, and just piggybacking what you're saying, you can see it with the offense. Dog, when there's 3 and out and there's no hope that there's going to be a connection, the quarterback is overthrowing. Now it's starting to be compounded by the fact that the receivers aren't mentally tuned in to what's going on. Some of it, you can't just miss a pass. I mean, just like sometimes Mitch can miss a throw.
No one is perfect.
No one's perfect, but it starts to permeate. Mm-hmm. That's the real thing. It starts to spread, and you start to be like, well, you start to be like, forget it to a certain degree, especially when you got to think about their expectations, and not just their expectations of winning, also the expectations of dollar signs. Like I was thinking about Mitch today, an article that we'll get into, and how Mitch and the body language thing and him fretting, and it didn't hit me as much. You know one thing he's fretting about? That money that Deshaun Watson
and Patrick Mahomes
about to get.
Ooh, they about to get paid.
And he ain't about to sniff none of that.
None of it.
And it's crazy. Listen, it's so crazy. That's how bad he's played. Because if he played halfway decent and still wasn't
or the same year as last year,
yes, good point.
He'd be making money.
He would be paid. They would pay him.
Yep.
Right, and he's playing so bad they can't even lie and come up with reasons to be like, well, guys, look, he was doing this or like that. It's too obvious.
He's not an average quarterback. An average quarterback. Jay Cutler was statistically all the way through an average quarterback, and he made money. And if he understands, like, man, we can't even have the TVs on up in here because they talking too much junk about me. So when that gets into your quarterback's head or any kind of player's head, I'm with you, Ken. I don't even think about the simple fact that he sees dollar signs. He sees money. He sees money.
Because first thing you're thinking, I'm losing here, but then it's like, oh my, I may blow my shot.
And he's 25 years old, and it's hard to get him to a starting quarterback position in NFL. You get backup money, and backup money is damn good. Yeah. But it ain't nothing like that starting
money.
Think
about, okay, let's just look at on this in the long frame. If he keeps going this way, he ends up on another team. They bring him in. Is that perhaps their backup or a chance guy? That's not going to be. It's going to be good money, but it's not going to be
damn good money.
Quarterback. You are franchise quarterback money.
Not at all.
He would have to then play well and prove himself there to end up getting a good, nice contract. Mm-hmm. Dog, that's like 4 years away. And I'm saying on a good note, that's 4 years away.
He'd be 30 years old.
Yeah, dude.
29, 30 years old.
And at that point, Watson and Mahomes are about to go on their second deal.
Yeah.
Before you guys go too heavy on Mitch, I want to.
Oh, no. We stay heavy on this, ML.
I want to know, because this might be our last playoff talk of the year. What do they got to do this week for a victory, or can they not even get a victory?
Not beating the Rams.
No shot?
No.
Is there anything they can do to win that game?
Listen, golf. Yeah, I know, right? Golf isn't great, and LA's having some issues of their own. But the thing about it is, they're in LA, So if they was at home, I probably would have given them a little bit of a better
place
shot.
to play over there.
It's not, but it's a simple fact of, man, it's hard to win on the road in the NFL.
And Mitch sucks.
It's hard. It's hard to do that. But I would tell you this much: I don't think they're gonna get blown out because they don't get blown out. It's only been 2 times we've seen them get blown out. They're gonna be in that game.
Hold on.
They're gonna be in that game.
Halftime, talking about with the sideline reporter that Danny Trevathan, they don't know if he's coming back or not.
Did you see his arm?
I'm like, didn't he break that?
My God,
Like,
his hand was pointed the other way.
yeah, like, dude, like it was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad.
Like,
How about Kwiatkowski coming in?
Yeah.
2 games.
2 games. Hey man, listen, you got to play
You
now
know what's
because
gonna happen?
Danny's gone for the season.
Yeah,
He's done.
He's playing.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably done for the He's done with the Bears.
Yeah, he's a free agent after
I don't
this
know
year.
about that.
He's a free agent
Because
after
how
this
much
year, though.
money do free agent middle linebackers make in free agency that's his age?
But we just saw the kid just come up there, and the 2 games he's played, he's looked pretty good.
But he's a free agent too, actually.
You're not going to start him.
He's a free agent too.
You can't, like, if he's because
You were
in
gonna start him the rest of the year.
Yeah, the rest of the year. But like, for now, I was going to say that Sean McVay is going to show you a couple things about Kwiatkowski.
Yes, he should.
Because in coverage, it's going to be
Well, he needs a quarterback that can throw it too.
it's going to be that ass. Is Cooper Kupp going to be out this week? We don't know yet.
No, he's playing. I think
playing?
he played in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so yeah, that's going to be that ass.
So so I mean, I guess we can go ahead and talk about it then. Then what's your prediction with the game? Then you think it's going to get the ass kicked?
I don't think necessarily. There's a chance they can lose by about 8, a touchdown or more. Easy.
I'm probably going to be drunk off the Kool-Aid and pick him.
I won't.
Oh, I won't do that now.
I guess what I picked him this week, but I won't be picking him this.
No, not at all.
This week. I'm going back to common sense because it was like with me, I was like it was Detroit.
It's a road game. That's for me. If it was at home, I think it'd be a coin flip.
Well, if it was at home because of this weather, I would rock with you.
I just think it's hard for any team. Listen, the Rams aren't blowing anybody away.
Man, you
and it's hard. And it's hard for teams.
The Bears are. They can't
No.
score.
I'm not.
bad.
They can't score. D.
What did I say at the beginning of the season? They could probably only score 17 points. I'm not denying that, but their defense is going to be able to keep teams in.
Man, if they was
the
scoring
Rams,
17 points, they'd be straight.
if they could score,
Jared Goff could
They
throw
can score
3
17
interceptions.
I'm talking about the Bears.
Yeah, they can score 17 points.
Man, to me, I think the Bears
They can
average.
score 17 points, Ken.
I say about 13 is.
So you dropping them down to 13 now?
I say about not this. You saying just this game?
Oh,
Yeah,
this
just
game.
this game.
I was saying my prediction was throughout this season, their average is going to be about 17 points. You're saying this game they probably is only going to
No,
score 13.
I'm saying that.
I'm
saying my belief in
I
this
wouldn't fight you on that
offense,
one.
I don't think they're averaging 17.
Come on,
points.
Mitch playing his old buddy Jared. They hang out with each other in the offseason. He'll be motivated to go.
Gives a damn.
It was very nice of you to say damn.
Yeah, I mean, like, so what are they
Could've went a
talking
lot
about?
harder.
How they was gonna steal this money and Jared got away with it?
You're
Now
next,
Mitch is like,
buddy.
damn it!
I'll let you get a win so
He's
you
like,
can be
ex-
next.
He basically exposed Mitch. He was like, no, don't do that.
Right. No, I would say they'll probably lose by a touchdown.
That's what's up.
But as I said before, that's the defense keeping them in. I don't think they're gonna get ran up out of Los Angeles. I would be shocked by that they got ran up out of Los Angeles. You know, let me walk that back.
Let's say they.
I'm sorry. Let me walk that back. I won't be shocked. They won't lose, but
Yeah, they could get blown out.
Yeah.
Anything can happen with
Anything
them,
can happen.
basically. Even win. But let's say they do win. Do they have a shot to actually win out the rest of the month?
No.
Giants, Lions?
I don't think they're gonna.
I don't think
on Thanksgiving Day if Matt Stafford is there.
I don't know if he's coming back in just a couple weeks.
Hey, give Driscoll a couple more weeks to get his feet up under him. Sure, they didn't look bad out there now.
They did not look bad.
He's fast.
Yeah,
But that
especially
defense is
somebody
still
that-
gonna be terrible.
I mean, remember, we're talking about somebody who really wasn't getting snaps.
They almost lost. The Bears almost lost that game.
Dude. Yeah, dude.
A few open passes, they might have won that game.
Yeah, dude.
Well, they can definitely win that game.
I mean, and
if Driscoll's
they
playing.
got a nice receiving core.
But if Driscoll's playing, they can win that game.
Who, the Lions? Or
No, the Bears.
Yeah, I think the Bears can beat. Listen, if Matt Stafford is there, I still say the Bears would have a chance.
Yeah, but I think they would lose.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm with you, but still, it's Thanksgiving Day. Who knows?
Yeah, it's going to be their Super Bowl.
And again, it gets back to the fact that since we can't count on the Bears' offense, teams that you should beat, you end up not beating because one, the defense is exposed. And look,
but Mitch likes playing the Lions.
that's another thing too. Yeah, that wasn't that other Lions game. Dog, we aren't saying talking about we talked a little bit about Danny Trevathan, but you're talking about the Hakeem Hicks situation. Like this defense has taken supreme losses. Roquan Smith he's
there. He's
not the same.
He's not the same last year.
He's not the same. What are you about to say?
Do you think Khalil's going to go on a hot streak? Because he's been pretty quiet. Or is this just kind of
They
what
just
we're
running
getting?
the ball up the middle. Somebody asked me that at the gig at the 9 to 5. Like, man, why isn't Khalil Mack getting sacks? They running the balls right up the middle. Listen.
Yeah, but you
he's
know
great,
that he
but
can still.
he can't cut over that damn much. They just running the ball.
It's also because Akeem Hicks isn't there.
Right. That's what I mean.
But he was, by himself in Oakland, was still able to have game-wrecking games.
Yeah, but who the hell was they playing?
Oh, they're about to play the Giants and the Lions.
I mean, this is what.
And the
he gets
Rams.
sacked. I think
The
he
Rams
should.
have 2 offensive linemen already out.
All I'm saying is, even if we look at that division in Oakland, I mean, we're talking about the old Kansas City team. That wasn't the Patrick Mahomes team. This was the Alex Smith Kansas City, the bad Denver Broncos, and the Cardinals. Who was he playing?
Cardinals.
No,
And Chargers.
The Chargers.
The Chargers. I'm sorry, and this was before. This was kind of with what's the name coming back. But even though the Chargers being Super Bowl contenders last year, he was here with us. I'm just pointing out that division wasn't as strong. Not taking away from the greatness of Khalil Mack, but also getting back to that question he was asked. Dude, I know he was getting triple team last year. He getting flipple team this year. Like if you look at how many people are dedicated to him. It's like, come on.
Also, too, Leonard Floyd hasn't showed up this season.
Leonard Floyd is a bust.
So if you don't have him doing anything, obviously, as Ken said, everybody's going to be tripling team.
I still feel like we got to get a Mac game, though.
You probably will. You will.
But see, also, and I'm not saying that he's quitting, but think about how Khalil Mack was playing the first 2 games.
That's what I'm wondering.
Think about but it gets to the point.
I know.
It's daunting, man. You keep on losing.
I'm gonna keep giving all this effort.
But this is still Hall of Famer.
3 and out.
This is still Hall of Famer.
Man,
crazy.
That's a human being. I don't care.
I agree.
Who you are. You can try to run that and say so-and-so wouldn't do that. Yes, his ass was.
People get through double teams.
We just didn't have the all 22 back then.
I get you. I'm with you.
Come, dog, let you be losing.
But I still think that Mac is not having a great year.
No, he's not. But like I said, we knew the defense was going to take a step back. You lose Hicks.
You just wouldn't think he would, though. You think everything else around it would.
Hey, man. We out there a lot of time. Wait a minute, hold on. The last game what's the game we talked about? Was it Philadelphia? They was out there for like 80% of the game.
Dude, how?
How can you play like that?
I'm done.
Yeah.
But even like this Lions game, they weren't out there that as much.
No. But that kid is fast.
And they lost his starting tackle.
That kid is fast though. You can run away from him. All right, so we got the Bears are kind of like in the playoff, as they still say, in the hunt. The only team they can catch, the only team they have to worry about, really, in my personal opinion, is the Minnesota Vikings. Because the Minnesota Vikings right now,
they got to gain a game before week 17.
They're the wild card team. So here are the Vikings' remaining schedule. They're hosting Denver. They're at Seattle.
That could be a loss.
They're hosting Minnesota.
They're hosting themselves?
I mean, sorry. They're hosting Detroit at Minnesota. Okay. Detroit's going to be in Minnesota.
Can Driscoll beat them?
No.
They're out against the Chargers. Then Green Bay comes to town. In last game of the season, they have the Bears. They're probably going to get a win against Denver. They're probably going to get a win against Detroit. They're probably going to get a win against the Chargers. And they're probably going to get a win against the Bears.
I don't know.
That's 4, and they only won 7 games. It's 8, 19, 11.
I
They're
don't
probably
know
going to win
if
11
they
games.
can beat.
Well, you can't count the Bears because that one would be.
They going to beat the Bears.
I wonder.
I'm just saying that.
I wonder if the Chargers, depending on who's healthy, may be able to give them a game. Is that in LA or is
The
that
Titans beat the Chiefs.
That's in LA.
It's in LA. I wonder if, especially talking about those players going to have a little LA hangover. I wonder if that could be a game.
Okay.
That could be a trap game for Minnesota.
All right, so 10 wins. Can the Bears get up to 10 wins? They're at 4 right now. So
Well, they have to win out November if we're even going to talk about it.
Here is the Bears' schedule for everybody.
Shield your eyes for December.
They're going out to the Rams, as we just said. They're going to play in LA. Then the Giants come here to Chicago. Then they go up to Detroit for Thanksgiving. Then you have Dallas coming to Chicago. Then Bears got to go up to Lambeau, go against the Packers. You got KC coming to town, and then you have
KC might not have anything to play for.
No, they can't. They can't.
They can't get 10 wins. They can't get 10 wins.
Matt Moore smoked their ass.
Oh, Patrick
You
will
can
be
smoke.
there.
I'm just saying what if they sit him? You just said if they have nothing to play for. What if they sit? Well, you don't need to play Patrick. We know what Patrick Mahomes is. He doesn't need.
Yeah, but they would also sit all the defensive players.
So,
too.
but I'm just saying, a scout would smoke the Bears' ass right now. A scout.
Well, you know
That's
what?
how bad this season has been.
Well, looking at the Chargers, they're right now. What seed would they be? They would be like the 3rd seed. They're 6-4 right now. And watch
4 and
out,
6.
Watch out! They're 6-4. The Chargers are 6-4.
No.
I mean, I'm sorry. The Chiefs. I'm sorry.
to say, how
The
did
Chiefs.
that happen?
The Chiefs. I'm talking about the Chiefs. We talking about maybe they don't have anything to play for. They're 6-4. They still have to play because don't look back. But the Raiders are 5-4. They're playing well this season, which I think a lot of people thought they probably would play well this season. So what? If the playoffs start right now, they'll be.
You think people thought the Raiders were going to play well this season?
I think they're gonna be better than what they were before.
Okay, yeah. But that was with Antonio Brown. After he,
But that's but you know what? That's a testament to Gruden. How he got those guys to play, and I'm sure they probably went into the season like, man, ain't nobody thinking about us. We're gonna go out there and play hard. They're 5-4.
It's a testament and a slap on the wrist. Because we said this on the show. Mac Mayock was telling his ass, like, man, get that mug out of here.
Yeah.
And Gruden was still trying to make it work.
I mean, look at the talent. Why wouldn't he?
But
trying to win.
And he's a cancer.
I understand that.
And Gruden just was wised up early and be like, you know what? Listen, Gruden just would have left it alone. You know, like that's the real thing. Like if he would have just trusted in what he had and not try to bring that guy in thinking that he can not want to say manipulate him, but handle him, which no one basically can.
Well, the point was I was trying to bring up, the simple fact is KC might have something to play for when they come to Chicago, so we probably will see Patrick Mahomes.
I don't care if they don't.
But I'm with you.
Unless
I'm with
Andy
you.
Weed's trying to help his buddy out.
Yeah, no.
I mean, dude, this season's over. Oh, let me ask you a question.
The Bears probably got 2 more wins in them.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
D and David show.
Hell no.
Question.
That wasn't the question.
His question was could the Bears make it to the playoffs?
Oh, I thought you said you want to ask him a question.
No, I
Yeah,
said,
that's what I thought.
No, I said let me. I meant let me answer your question, and the answer is hell no. Like
they're
the
not.
season's done.
Yeah.
We told you that a long time ago. Could you please stop with your
They're in the hunt.
childish desires?
They would have to have.
They have to win out November.
They're in the hunt. Listen, look me in my eyes and say that.
They're in the hunt.
Are you saying it for real? Okay, then he looks away.
I'll say they're in the hunt
didn't wanna turn
officially
to salt.
if they win out November.
Pretty much a pillar of salt.
What'd you say?
I'll say that they have a shot if they win out November.
But you know they're not.
They'll be 7-4.
It doesn't matter what I think. I said I will believe in them somewhat if they go.
They'll be
undefeated.
7-4. They'll be 7-4.
7-5.
7-5. I'm sorry, 7-5. Kirk Cousins will have to like break his legs and they'll be done.
Do you think there's a chance the Bears can win a finish with 10 wins?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Hell no.
And they're not getting in the NFC. They're not getting in the playoffs.
No, they probably finish. They probably get 6 wins this season, 6 or 7 wins.
Yeah, if they can't
That's it.
get to 10,
That's it.
They're not getting in.
Yeah, that's it.
Period.
No, the season's over. And you know what? And to wrap it up, to go back to what we talked about before, that's the reason why you're seeing the play you're seeing right now. This team was expected to go to the Super Bowl.
At least the second round.
At least the second round, and look where they are at. They are demoralized. They don't even watch TV. Turn that off. I'm sad.
All right, we're going to go into the Tribune article with Dan Reederer and Rich Campbell talking about the selection process that brought Mitch to the Bears. D&D Davis Show.
Yo, what up? It's your man Jay Illa, official Chicago Bears DJ, and you are listening to the D&D Davis Show. Turn it up. With the second pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Mitchell Trubisky, quarterback, North Carolina.
Hello. Mitchell Trubisky is going to Chicago.
Number 1 quarterback for me, number 1 quarterback for Josh, number 1 quarterback for Mark, Dow's number 1 quarterback, Over the Top Scouts number 1 quarterback, Area Scouts number 1 quarterback. That's conviction on a quarterback.
D and Davis Show, as we teased, Chicago was in a bit of a tizzy with a wonderful article by Dan Reederer and Rich Campbell. Shout out to Rich Campbell. He was on Dan Davis Show about a year or two ago.
Yep.
And it really breaks down the selection process of the Bears selecting Mitch, the Texans selection Deshaun Watson, and Mahomes being selected by Kansas City. And it goes into what just came over Matt Nagy and what he needs.
You mean Ryan Pace?
Pace. Oh, Ryan Pace.
Thank you, Ryan Pace. I apologize, Ryan Pace. And
We can't blame Matt Nagy for this one.
one of the things is just looking at some of the quotes. Pace wasn't concerned that Trubisky spent the first 2 seasons in Chapel Hill backing up Marquise Williams, who wasn't drafted. As others scrutinized Trubisky's college and experience, he threw only 572 passes compared to Watson's 1,200 and to Mahomes' 3,400. Pace focuses on the constant spark Trubisky seemed to lend even when he was in a backup role. Let me repeat that. Pace focused on the constant spark Trubisky seemed to lend even when he was a backup. Every time he got in the game, Pace said on draft night, something happened in a positive way. While Trubisky didn't ooze charisma like Mahomes and Watson, Pace deeply admired his humility. He valued his family support system and dedicated approach. When I first saw this, I was like, wait. Family support system. Mahomes' daddy was a pitcher in the MLB.
Got money.
Bloodline. Been around professional sports his whole life.
Yep.
And you're telling me if we're factoring in family, that's not something that you're factoring in. He just felt he was too stable. And he said, poor Deshaun Watson in that poverty. I can't bring you with them. I knew as soon as Deshaun Watson was walking with them thick chains, he'd never be the best quarterback. I was like, oh, no. Virginia grabbed it.
Hold your purse. Right, hold your purse, mama.
Oh my goodness. It's the chain is just so thick.
Did you clutch your pearls? I did.
They're bigger than my pearls.
At the Senior Bowl 3 months before the draft, Pace emphasized the pluses of college success for a quarterback. Just think about that. Pace emphasizes the pluses for college success for a quarterback. You want to look for a player who's lifted his program for the most part. Brees did that in Purdue. That's one thing we found out about this article, his lust to find someone similar to Drew Brees. If anybody doesn't remember, he was a player personnel guy for the Saints.
Yeah.
He was there when they brought Drew Brees in.
That won a championship there too.
That was 3 years later. That was also Watson's defining characteristic. What about Trubisky, who for the Tar Heels went 8-5 and lost the Sun Bowl in his only season as a starter?
God.
He said, I thought Mitch did that in a lot of ways. He's going against what he's saying.
I got some quotes too. All right. So here is a quote about Ryan Pace from the article as well. He was fixated on Trubisky and unwilling to accept a consolation prize. To move up one slot, he traded 4 picks, and this is what everybody knows. The Bears' first, third, fourth round picks in 2017 and in 2018 third rounder. Here's another quote. He told colleagues at Hallis Hall, to piggyback on your Drew Brees, Trubisky seemed like a 22-year-old Brees.
That's such a lie.
What did you see? What did you see that made you think that he was Drew Brees?
How you guys kind of talked about this earlier. Do you think he just was trying to look for like somebody like himself or just somebody he liked? Like,
no, I think he
just to talk to or something.
No, I think he honestly thought that he was looking for Drew Brees, and Mitchell Trubisky obviously is the only one that's close to Drew Brees. This
because of skin color.
That's part of it, probably. Well, I'm not going to deny that. Wait. But this is the thing, though. Obviously, that's the case because you're looking at two guys that athletically, everything on the field is the complete opposite of Drew Brees. But he went in that draft thinking, I'm going to get me a Drew Brees.
But even with that, Mitch,
he didn't look nowhere else.
Mitch is a really good athlete.
He is, but he's not neither one of them, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's actually probably a better athlete than Mahomes in terms of running.
Yeah.
Not throwing.
In line. It's straight line.
Straight line.
And maybe being not, as a runner outside the pocket.
No, not with spinning out of it like Mahomes.
He can't do what Mahomes.
But not Mahomes. Not holding the ball and throwing
but Mahomes' instincts as far as running is better. But I'm with you. I think perhaps if there was in a foot race, Mitch may be able to get him. If not, they may finish.
Like if you called a quarterback draw, Mitch would probably be a little bit better at that. If you said, don't throw it, just run.
But see, I don't think Mitch has the sensory around him to feel the pressure coming.
Oh yeah,
that Mahomes picks up. But real quick to get to what Ryan asked, I think that he was at a situation where this year he was going to take a quarterback in the draft. I think that's what was going on.
We all knew that.
Yeah, and what he did was he tried to force someone to be his Drew Brees. That's the truth of the matter. Because I love Drew Brees at Purdue.
Yeah.
That wasn't Drew Brees at Purdue. All right.
Right.
So don't hit me with that. On top of that, he didn't get as many reps as Drew Brees at Drew Brees had that job. Listen, I was younger back then. If he took it his sophomore year, I don't remember if he took it his freshman year, but he was a starter for at least 2 or 3 of those years he was at Purdue.
Was.
All right.
Sure was.
This was a guy that couldn't beat out a man that's going to be in the XFL. Right? He couldn't. He didn't galvanize that team enough that if there was a question if he could steal that job. We talk about everything. People see the truth in practice, right?
Yeah.
Those guys on that college team, if they knew, man, this Marquise is fine. But Mitch, woo! Think about how we kept hearing about Patrick Mahomes that first year in KC. When it was like, hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Mahomes is here doing it. And that's practice, right?
Yeah.
Before that season, people were like, watch out.
Whoa. Louis Riddick, one of them.
Only reason why he even was on the bench because Alex Smith was doing his thing. Yes, Andy Reid's guy, and they was just won like 11 games. They was going to the playoffs.
Also, he was.
But we knew, as you saying, this is the next guy.
Reading this article, he was too raw.
Yeah.
And they sit there and they got him right in a year, and how much Alex Smith helped him.
How he was able to absorb everything.
Yeah.
That's what kind of blew their mind, too.
Goes to the point, too, of perhaps having a father that played in the pros.
Yeah.
That it's easier for you to know how to sit there and break down what's going to happen in the game and accept that type of information. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying you're around
professionalism.
Yes, you know how to carry yourself in these types of situations. So that was just some of the stuff. But listen, this article hurt.
Ooh, did it?
But I'll say this too.
I got another quote.
I got another quote for you
too, but go ahead.
With Deshaun Watson was throwing a lot of interceptions.
13.
And there was question marks about his health long term.
Yes, and
he was slight.
And historically, you do not get better when it comes to accuracy in the pros.
Yep.
Historic. That's just the truth of it.
Yeah.
But Deshaun Watson had won so much, you had to
His
take
problem
the
wasn't
fire.
accuracy. It was he throws a lot of interceptions. That's different
But
than
people
not
still
hitting
didn't think he was accurate like that, because you also got to remember, dog, he had the whip at receiver down there.
Oh, yeah. Marvin Williams.
Mike Williams.
Yeah, Mike Williams. Yes.
And it wasn't just Mike. Like those guys' catch radius were crazy. They had a stable down there at that time.
And that was that spread half field read, and he could use his speed. So people wondered, is he going to be able to do full field reads? Is he going to be able to be a part of that system?
But this is the thing about Deshaun Watson, Dean Davis show right here. But this is the thing about Deshaun Watson. You saw him win.
Against NFL talent on the biggest stage.
Him win. And his guys would run through a wall for him. As Ken just said, Mitch couldn't beat out a dude that
Not even playing football professionally.
Football anymore. He's not even
just
playing.
out there selling his body right now.
Possibly. So here's another quote.
Prostitute, huh?
What's that man out there doing?
Should have me up in there.
Give me those pearls.
So here's another quote. I thought that either they had some kind of wild process where they were going to try to sneak under the radar and grab Deshaun because they had heard so many positive things about him, or it was an organization with a bunch of dysfunction that wasn't prepared to be successful and didn't have the pieces in place to truly take the next step.
You didn't say
That's from Avery. That's from Avery. Quincy Avery. Yes.
Quincy Avery.
I think he was the
former quarterback.
but he was also was it Deshaun Watson's quarterback coach during the process, draft process? Okay, there you go. Yes, that was him. So he was like, man, I thought they were sleuthing. But when I found they wasn't sleuthing, I was like, man, y'all know what the hell y'all doing. Y'all know what y'all doing. John Fox, talk to Dabo. Go ahead and take Watson.
Michael Jordan.
He's Michael Jordan. John Fox said, hey, I wanted him. But obviously, he didn't find out until the day of. And somebody else higher up said that they wanted Deshaun Watson too, but they lost that, obviously.
John Fox.
It was somebody else, I thought. Somebody else within the organization said they wanted.
Dave Ragone wanted, I think, Deshaun Watson. I can't remember if he wanted Dave.
I thought it was two people.
I think it was Dave Ragone may have been the person.
So you have somebody from the outside in, like, man, listen, y'all just had... No. Was Avery here for a hot cup of coffee with the Bears? Who was here for? It was in the article. I don't have it.
Carson Palmer's little brother.
Yes, was in there with Cutler, and it was like, hey,
who
man,
also was Mahomes' person that got him ready for the draft.
Right. So it was like, man, listen, I was just up in there. Y'all need somebody great to come in and kind of pick up from where Cutler was at, because Cutler was not the dude. Y'all need somebody to go into House Hall or in this organization to really start it up. Oh, y'all taking this dude? Oh, y'all doing. And that was, as Ken just said, it was demoralizing. It was depressing.
Actually, Palmer wanted Watson.
Palmer wanted Watson?
Yeah, Palmer wanted Watson.
But either way, you had two people saying, like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Reading this, it makes you think,
how is he going to draft the next guy?
What is Ryan Pace? Exactly. Should Ryan Pace even be drafting anybody? Is that demoralizing to the fan base?
He shouldn't be.
But is ownership gonna pay attention to this at all?
No, because when's the last time they had last year? And they're going to sit there and let that cologne from last year, he's going to use that for cover. They listen, to be honest with you. And no, he's had a lot more success than the Trestman and
Phil Emery.
Thank you. Phil Emery. I always forget Phil Emery because it was like he was only here for a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm. I always remember him because of how embarrassing it was.
They had more. He's had that 1 year as far compared to those 2 years. He's had a longer time here, even though initially we think he was handcuffed when he first got here. But the proof is he hasn't hit on any of his first round picks.
None.
If Roquan
might be the only one.
If he can't get his head right, he hasn't hit on any of his first round picks.
Hey, at least Phil Emery got Kyle Fuller.
And yeah.
At
least he did.
And he got Kyle Long.
He got Kyle Long.
Yeah, Kyle Long too.
So he got Kyle Long too. So
Shea McClellan, but
Whoa.
Forgot about Shea.
Have some misses.
But I mean,
you're gonna have those.
But in saying that, it's not even just the quarterback that you have to worry about him missing on. There are other positions. Your dog, Shaheem may not even suit up anymore, and that was a second round pick from a small school.
And Trey Burton can't play.
So you had White, you had Trubisky, you had who else was a first round pick that he picked
Leonard
up?
Floyd,
and
then Roquan Smith. Those are his four.
And one right now we thinking because Mitchell, as Ken just said, is a maybe.
Yeah, one's a maybe.
And he's a maybe.
But you don't have to pay. Listen, if he wants to stay for cheap money, outside of that, there's no reason for Leonard Floyd to be here. Seriously, there's
not a difference maker.
Dog,
not at all.
This was the year Shuddy was supposed to prove something. He's proven absolutely nothing. Ooh. First of all, you went and got this undersized kid in the first place. All right, he still hasn't bulked up to where you.
But couldn't get the undersized Deshaun Watson, huh?
Great point.
Yeah,
great point. Who was proven, and it goes
and was an athletic freak too.
But this is a problem too. He loves athletic freaks.
Oh yeah, he does.
But he doesn't like it if everyone knows about him. All right.
He wanted to,
and if they're throwing the ball black.
Listen, but
he wanted to think about this. Everybody.
He wanted to get Calvin Ridley. He tried to get Calvin Ridley last year. Settled for Anthony Miller. Point that I'm making is this: in that draft with White, clearly, if you were going to go receiver, the only one you had to go was Amari Cooper. You're talking about a guy that was in basically a gimmicky offense.
See, that one I don't have as much problem with because he actually slotted there. It was him and Vic Beasley as the 7th or 8th best prospect.
The problem was they had so many holes, it made no sense to draft a receiver. I wouldn't even taken Amari Cooper. Unless he failed to me.
I thought at the time it was just like, take your pick because you got to rebuild everything.
Yeah, but think about you don't rebuild with a receiver.
Oh, sure. But we all knew going into that draft was going to be a wide receiver because they just got rid of Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, but not initially.
And Alshon.
Yeah,
and Alshon.
Yeah,
was that the year?
No, Alshon was still there.
No, Alshon was still there. Remember? I think it was Marshall.
No, Alshon. Yeah, maybe. Alshon just left. Alshon left during this. He was there with John Fox.
Yeah, he was there with Kevin White for 1 year.
He was there. Mm-hmm. So, but again, this is the point that I'm trying to make is this: we've seen him move up for the players that he desires. If he said, you know what, I don't care what they say, I need a receiver, he should have went and got him Amari. This is the point that I'm trying to make. We see he moved up for Leonard Floyd rather. He moved up to get Mitch. And he's always talking about if it's a guy, I'm going to go get him. So even the point I'm pointing out is his talent evaluation.
Didn't he want to move up to get Marcus Mariota?
Yes.
He was talked about trying to get up there for Marcus.
And how was that? That wouldn't have gone better.
It wouldn't have been better.
He would have been better than Mitch.
He would have been better than Mitch.
But still, because Marcus wouldn't have forgot his legs. This year, Mitch is like, oh no, I gotta live. Right? His privilege. Now the athletic quarterback don't want to run no more. Right? But Lamar out here risking life and limb to getting it done. You know what I'm saying? Mm. But look, you could also put that on Nagy. Nagy should right now, I'll tell you this. I'd be like, man, just like I said about the receivers, where I'd be like, man, if I was Nagy talking to Mitch, he'd be like, yeah, coach, but I don't want to put him in a dangerous situation. I'd be like, man, if I was Nagy, I'd do the same with Mitch. I'd be sitting in my room like, man, how I'm gonna get my ass out of the situation, man? I can get fired probably next year. I highlight a Lamar be on there. Not saying he's Lamar, but just saying he's athletic. I'd be like, Dude, Mitch, run. Dog, get out there.
But this
I'm calling,
doesn't wanna.
Wait, I'm calling planned rushes like
this
he was
is but,
Cam Newton.
But this is my thing,
Why not?
though.
Break his best stuff.
Wait a minute. But this is my point. What I said before, they're gonna try to make sure that Mitchell Trubisky succeeds in every way possible as long as he's in a Chicago Bears uniform. They are not.
I don't even know about that this year.
Yeah,
Are they
no,
doing everything
I think-
they can to make him succeed
Well,
this year?
no.
You know the reason why I say that? Because if you, you know the reason why.
What you're saying?
Yeah, what?
Because what y'all saying is the same thing. Yes, they don't know how, but to their knowledge, they are. To your point, I think they're going to try. They should exhaust him this year because you don't want to.
I ain't talking about this year though.
But I think going into next year.
What do you think they're gonna do next year?
They're gonna bring somebody in next year. The question, listen,
It's going to be an open competition.
yeah, but
With Mitch.
But listen, he can't beat any. He didn't have a
I know,
competition.
but
sucked.
he's going to be here.
Okay, and I'm fine. I think he will too. But I think they're gonna bring somebody in next year. And dog,
let's
if
It all
that
depends on who it is.
But yes, if that person is a black guy from the NFC South, choose whoever, they're gonna beat him. So I'm saying if it's gonna be Cam or if it's gonna be Bridgewater,
How about the Red Rocket?
You still stuck on Andy Dalton?
no. No.
Come on, he's the perfect
but
Bears quarterback.
But I also think
That's why we don't want him.
I also think it would be if they would try to look for someone perhaps for Nagy that has the RPO, but still the crazy thing is with Cam, you still want to be running Cam out there like that?
Nick Foles?
They're not going to let him go. I mean, because like
Down in
dog,
Jacksonville?
yeah, they're not.
Gardner Minshew.
What's the name? Double down on him.
Your guy, Gardner Minshew. Bring him in.
If I was Jacksonville, I'd want to keep Nick Foles as backup.
Nick Foles, you pay
He's
too
starting.
much money to be a backup.
Yeah, you're paying way too much
They
money.
put him way too much.
That
money.
owner got the wrestling company. They got
put
enough
him
money.
way too much. So
They fine.
again, I don't think they're allowed with how bad this season imploded. In the past Bears years, if the Bears finish 800 Cutler wise, they finished 500 rather. They would sit there and they would just be like, "All right, no, we're not worried about it, dude. They suck." So to save face, they have to bring somebody in. But also the great point about this is, you don't have to pay Mitch, so it's not a situation because our big thing was cap wise, and again we pointed out the week before. Now you don't have to play Leonard Floyd, the huge amount of money you thought you were going to end up paying him. Who else? Is somebody that's a suspect that was probably going to end up getting paid. So, listen,
Leonard Floyd.
But also, look, I know it could be blasphemy to some people. I think it's like next year, perhaps. Hey, Tariq Cohen, I don't know what type of money Sproles was getting, but you not getting that one. You may get the one deal he got with the Eagles,
but that's the only.
But you're not gonna get the deal he got with the Saints.
But what you have with Tariq Cohen, that's his production is down because they're not utilizing him in the correct way.
I'm not arguing that, but it still gets to the point
because we already know he's a limited guy.
If we can't utilize him, I can't pay him. I'm just saying that if you can't
give Ryan Pace a chance,
but then also it's not traditional, and when you keep trying to fit someone in and you may not know how to use them, there's no reason for you to break the bank for them.
Here's a question: how damning is this article going to feel? Or how is this article going to be felt up in Hollis Hall?
Oh, it hurts.
Are you talking about ownership?
Just throughout Hollis Hall.
It hurts.
I don't think they care. Honestly.
No, I think they care because of the people that talked.
Well, they'll be upset about that.
That's what I think they care about.
But I think that's it.
Because it shows a line of thinking that it only reinforces. Damn, y'all really don't know what y'all doing.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I hope George thinks of.
When you show us how you make the hot dogs, it's like, oh, I really shouldn't be eating this, right? Like, because we're sitting here on the outside in not knowing the methodology that they were using, and to see that it was basically what I want. Like he had nothing really to back up. If he went off of what he was saying, cool. Even though he shouldn't have just been trying to look for Drew. Drew Brees is the greatest quarterback. I get you was around him. Physically, you were around him.
He loved Drew Brees.
But dog, if you tell him,
loves him.
Now listen, if I'm in a situation, of course, we didn't know what Russell Wilson was 5, 6, 7 years coming out of Wisconsin. We didn't know what Russell Wilson was. Look, at NC State, you didn't know what he was. He was playing up in Wisconsin, right? I get it. Like, yeah, okay, this guy, he reminds me of Drew Brees. I'm not going into the draft like, give me that Drew Brees. I'm going into there like, who's the best quarterback? And let's cycle through those guys. That's what at one point, my last point, He's disrespecting the best part about Drew Brees, even though I know he thought he wasn't. Intelligence.
Yeah, he was a mental warrior, or is a mental warrior.
Yeah, like you're talking about families with Drew Brees. He has a son. This has a physical ailment.
Oh, sorry, never mind.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out. We're talking about a man that above and beyond,
been through some stuff.
Went down there, helped them through Katrina with his play. I mean, we can say, well, what did he do?
Went to the MC
But he did galvanize that city.
He raised their morale to give people something to cheer about. Right, a guy that was thrown away. But we remember that shoulder.
Listen, throughout the article, they do mention how a lot of these guys, a lot of other NFL quarterbacks, they do struggle with their first 3 or some years. Yeah, going back to like Drew Brees.
Drew didn't figure it out until that year he got hurt. But we knew he was on his way out because they had drafted Phillip Rivers. Because at that point, it was still like, man, are they going to franchise Drew? Because for anybody who may not remember, was it a play? There was a throwaway game. I think they were about to go to the playoffs, and Drew stayed in, and basically it was like a quarterback sneak or something. He was by the goal line. He shouldn't have been in. He got hit and wrecked his shoulder. Wrecked it. Nick Saban's runs the Dolphins at this time.
Yeah,
he's the coach, but he's also the personnel guy. They bring him in. Their medical staff tells them it's not going to be right. They end up taking Dante Culpepper. This is why Roll Tide, Alabama. Thank heaven.
Yeah.
All right. Because Nick Saban may still be he may still be in the pros.
Yeah.
Right. And then Sean Payton, who people forgetting, remember Bill Parcells took play calling from Sean Payton in Dallas. All right. But Sean Payton, who was now the head coach of the Saints, they brought him in and it made football heaven, basically.
How the world works sometimes. So
again, too, you're sitting there and the subterfuge you did with John Fox. Listen, if you don't agree with John Fox still is an encyclopedia of football. Use that. I'm not saying that everything he says is fact, but use that. All right.
Wasn't that the point of bringing him in because he had all this experience?
Yeah.
He was the first coach they ever hired that had previous
experience.
And they wanted him to be paired up with a young GM. And that young GM didn't pay him no mind. And look what he did.
He was forced on him, though.
Not even, granted, but as you just said, though,
can you learn a little?
As you just said, he's a encyclopedia of football.
Yeah, I'm still gonna talk.
But he did not listen to John Fox. He didn't. Not saying that John Fox knew what was going on, and because he was sucking as a coach. But he knew you just take Deshaun Watson.
It also tells you how bad the relationship was. I know in the article it mentioned.
It does mention this.
But even what wasn't mentioned in this article, it tells you how bad the relationship was because part of the reason you didn't tell him was fear that it was going to get out. You don't tell some people because you already know that relationship is frayed, and we're media people. Mm-hmm. What happens then? John Fox, just so you know, it looked like they probably gonna take Mitch, right? Especially I'm not gonna be here anyway. He the guy I said to not even listen. I told you to get Watson, and you like we're gonna do Mitch anyway. You know what you're saying? Get your ass up out of here.
The personnel, the scouting personnel, and the coaching staff, they said within this article was so separated like anything you haven't seen before. But you had O'Brien and you had Andy Reid, who's basically leading the charge
because they're offensive
coordinators. But they're in the middle of it. I mean, it's the head coach. Yeah. What head coach would not be in the middle of drafting?
One that was a lame.
Is George McCaskey reading this thing? And feeling any different?
Oh, they gonna read it. I think they read.
But is George McCaskey feeling any different? Because he's the only one that matters. What his opinion is.
I think what Virginia thinks matters. Because think about it, they don't fire Trestman if Virginia wasn't mad.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if
Virginia did walk in, and
how can Virginia read this?
They say Virginia was pissed off.
Yeah.
Like if that's the thing, if Mama gets angry. Damn, we got to do something.
Then her.
Yeah.
Is she going to read this and get angry?
Can she see?
She can still see.
She got a trifocal.
She can still see.
Hey, everyone says she's got it up here still.
Yeah, she may. I mean, and listen, she comes from old football. They're not even running the football. I mean, for real. Like this. Think about that. Virginia knows more about football probably than us.
Yeah,
right. Like old football, and you can't even do the natural elements right, and you got a great defense that's just going to waste. But getting back to this article, you know what? It's funny, and in discussions I've been having, it really just paints the picture of Chicago sports. And yeah, the Cubs got hot, and the sports team that's the least favorite sport in the city or in the country when it comes to hockey, they had a real dynasty.
But
now they're bad.
Yeah. struggling.
Right now, that's an aberration. That's just that we can't say that's fact that it's going to come back. But when you look at the fact that the Bears their defense wasn't, but for the most of it, because of their quarterback and maybe because of their head coach, they were built on, I don't know,
What?
Tissue paper, basically.
A house of cards?
Thank you. A house of cards. And then you look at the Bulls who are on right now. And
The ultimate house of cards.
exactly. And I think we laugh at this.
It's a shack of cards.
And it's sad. This is
the Taj Mahal of cards.
These are our sports teams, right? Mm-hmm. And let's look at our counterparts. The Knicks suck. The Bulls are playing the Knicks right now. The Knicks suck, right? But you know what? If you're in New York, your football team in the last decade won 2 Super Bowls against the best football dynasty in the last, 25 years?
25, 30 years.
I mean, it's the best dynasty in football history.
Oh, I'm fine with that, especially when you add in free agency. All right? I'm fine with that. But then on top of that, you look at the fact that your basketball team, we'll get into that. And then with New York, they still got the Yankees. Los Angeles, they have the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
And we have nothing.
Why can't we have
right
a
now.
one?
No. Not right now. None of our franchises.
Traditionally as a winner, just
That's the point that I'm
consistent.
making.
Consistently.
None of our
All our franchises have won in the past 25 years.
Yeah, but that's still,
Which no other city has
The
done.
Lakers have won.
Yes.
The Giants have won.
the Yankees have.
The Yankees have won.
Yeah.
Regardless, listen,
Yes.
what I'm saying, you have a respite.
I think Boston has won all the championships too, but go ahead.
You can sit there and usually there's something you can hang your hat on that during the season. I mean, the seasons, not the sports seasons, but
Or your sports fandom. You
But
have
I'm
something
saying
to hang
like
on.
the seasons throughout the year, winter, spring, and fall, that you're going to have something to hang your hat on.
At least
as a
one
sports
team is
fan.
going to be good.
Yeah, and we don't have that, and we really haven't outside of Michael Jordan, right? And again, that's just a blip. That's not the Bulls from the 60s, from their inception. And to me, I think it's sad, and we don't really harp on it as much that I feel like as we should, because it's
We ain't used to it.
Because you're going down an avenue that's just a dead end. Because it's all the same problem: ownership.
Yeah.
And it's don't go.
That's why. Hey, I remember last year. Just to wrap it up, my beautiful wife, was going to take me to the Bulls game for my birthday. I said the Spurl money would not be spent there.
No, that's right. That's correct.
Exactly. I said. She's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, no.
I tell everybody, stop spending your money over there.
I think that was the first time I ever said it. The Spurl household money would not be spent there.
It would only be spent when it is deserved.
Exactly. Oh, 100%. 100%. And right now, nobody is worth the Spurl household dollar.
Well, maybe the White Sox. They're going to have a fun year.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Well, again, just to wrap this up,
The Bears suck.
no, it's sad.
Ryan Pace is blind.
It's sad to know how flawed leadership is.
Let's hope if they draft another quarterback that Matt Nagy has a big hand in that pick. Because outside of him, I don't know if anyone else can.
Yeah, but the problem with that is
He might be an idiot too. Yeah.
I'm not even about to get on. I'm not about to get on that. So let's just go off of what you're
I
saying.
laugh before I cry.
So they can only draft a quarterback in the second round this year unless there's some way they move up. And how much
can move up.
But how much
They're not
draft
gonna.
capital can you continue to give up? Because think about it. Depth,
Oh, he sells. Ryan Pace sells.
But no.
He sell draft picks like he's selling some you know what on the corner.
It gets to a point you really like their
You have to hold your water.
Yeah, their depth is messed up now. Because think about what we thought. We didn't think we needed 2 first-round picks because we had Khalil Mack.
Yes.
And they traded up for Dave Montgomery because he was supposedly one of the
Like,
missing
they're-
pieces.
But now with these injuries, you see you can't keep giving up picks because their depth is. I'm just saying, like, I'm with you. I don't think in the next 2 drafts he can pull a Khalil Mack style trade. I'm not saying he wouldn't trade something, but and also we're talking about what would you would have to give up. What, both 2s and the one from the following year?
Probably to get back into.
I mean, it depends how high up your 2 is, but you might be able to get.
Well,
away with
that's another bad part. You thought when you're going to have the Raiders 2, you're going to have a high 2.
Right.
Well, now the high 2 is going to be your 2.
Yeah.
Right? But still, it's going to be probably the
Like you could maybe trade, let's say
pick in the second round.
Yeah, let's say New England's the Super Bowl champion, number 32. You could probably trade up to number 32 if you're in the top 10 with two twos.
None of the quarterbacks we need are going to be there.
Oh yeah,
I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback.
Because Herbert,
he's the only one that maybe
and he's the one you don't want.
I don't want him really that much either.
So that's the thing. But you already
take him over Mitch though.
You already know. Me too. You already know that the Heisman winner and Burrow's going to be gone.
Yes.
You know Tua's going to be gone.
Oh, Jalen.
Jalen's going to be gone too.
They saying, I thought Jalen was going to go in the second, but a lot of people I'm here now saying he may be third to fifth.
Fifth round or third or fifth overall?
No.
Third or fifth round.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He just might not have the arm.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not the arm. It's not the arm.
It's not the arm? It's in between?
His arm is stronger than Tua's.
Okay. Then it's the head.
Yeah. But put it like this. The thing about Tua being more of a natural passer, he doesn't have to necessarily see you open. Jalen.
Well, this is like Mitch again. Does he have the instincts? That's
Jalen. That's kind of still the Jalen.
So if they say Jalen Hurts is going to be between the third and fifth round pick, and the Bears going to have picks around that time, I'm thinking if
they'll have the compensatory pick that they just got by cutting Mike Davis.
Okay, so say they got that low in the round
because they don't have a third and they don't have a fifth.
They go out there. We're thinking it's going to be a veteran they sign. We don't know who the veteran is. Would you still draft a quarterback though? Because that veteran quarterback.
Are you keeping Mitch?
That veteran. Yeah, he's going to be on there. I would go into camp with Mitch. I would go into camp with that veteran signing, and I would draft a quarterback.
If in that situation,
if it was somebody like a Hurts, who you'd probably be like, the ceiling might be high. You just got to kind of coach him up a little bit.
I would draft Hurts in that situation.
Yeah, if you're telling me a low round quarterback, like what if you had to do Hurts in the second round though? I don't know if they're going to.
I don't know if they'll do that.
That's a second round pick, Mitch, and spending
No. That's what I'm saying. They won't do that for a second round. It would have to be third, fourth, fifth for that quarterback that they want to get somebody. But as we said, they're probably going to draft. They're probably going to sign a veteran.
That veteran is to say, because who's going to be out there that's a free agent?
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater.
Opt out, but
you got to trade for Cam.
That's what
Phillip Rivers.
You got to trade
Phillip
for
Rivers.
Cam. I'm
just saying.
You got to trade for Cam. Think about it. When you mentioned Nick Foles, you'd have to trade for Nick Foles.
Trade Nick Foles too.
So when these draft picks that we're talking about, you're gonna have to use that capital to go and get that.
Right. That's why I keep saying Andy Dalton. They want to get rid of him.
No,
you can get a nickel on the dollar.
So the only quarterback is going to be you can just flat out sign if you want to stay for a veteran is going to be Teddy Bridgewater and Andy Dalton.
No. Andy Dalton's under contract.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater will be a free agent probably.
Mm-hmm. He can opt out, I believe.
Okay,
he has an option.
Well, I guess they could maybe sign him if he felt like he was going to be the heir apparent or something.
Why would you leave Sean Payton?
That's what I'm saying.
You're not going to play though.
Yeah, but how
long is Drew Brees going to be around? But Drew Brees probably going to be around. We just talked about.
You know what?
He's a football junkie.
Sean, give me a little bit more cash, another opt out. That we can do it like that. That way, I can see if I'm gonna be here. Because we know if they win, I don't know if they're gonna win a Super Bowl this shit. They win a Super Bowl, I think Drew Brees is out.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think Drew Brees is out.
And they got a legit shot this year too. They have a legit shot.
You know what
they have a shot.
You know what I'm fearful of? This is gonna be the problem with that.
Drew Brees.
Wait, what?
I think he's gonna.
I think he's part of the issue of them not winning it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna.
That's why that loss to Atlanta, I was like, whoa, Drew.
And
Drew, brother.
I picked Atlanta in my pick'em or in my spread because I was like, the spread was like 10. I was like, are you crazy?
It was like 13, maybe.
Yeah, I was like, Atlanta's not going to get beat like that. I was like, not against them too. I didn't have Atlanta winning, but I knew they was going to cover. They was going to cover the spread. But so going along with what you said, it brings back that dog. If we forget these old quarterbacks, especially one with physical liabilities. That if you can get to them, man, you're
happy feet to take out any quarterback. Yeah, especially an older one.
So, and again, we talked about
they don't like getting hit.
I think it's helped him. See, no, let me not say that. We talked about how Drew Brees was tired last year in the playoffs, right? And we would think, hey, Drew Brees had to sit out, so he should be reinvigorated, refreshed. No, he's been rehabbing. He's been trying to get his hands straight. So actually, he hasn't been resting like we think. You know what I'm saying? Like he hasn't. You know what type of work they said that he was doing with that hand, and a football player has never had that type of issue. And on top of that, we don't even really know if that hand is right. He's a field guy with that type of accuracy. He has an arm that can get it there.
He's still wearing a thing, right?
Yeah. So I'm just
listen. What you're saying it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Since Drew Brees probably is at the tail end of his career, I think everybody knows that. Yeah, maybe Teddy Bridgewater might be the heir apparent.
But if I'm Teddy Bridgewater, I want to get paid. Especially Teddy Bridgewater. This may be your only chance to make back some of that money you lost from that injury.
And this might be your only chance to just be a flat out starter right now.
Right, good, right point. Because someone may not give you the same opportunity.
Because if they draft Mahomes, let's say Breeze retires, and they draft some quarterback, move up for him, is Bridgewater still the guy?
Nope.
No.
Not at all. That's what I'm saying. I think looking at the Bears,
you can be that guy.
You can be that guy. And how is Teddy Bridgewater 30 years old yet?
Yeah, I think he's just about
that.
30.
He's just 30?
Just that.
Maybe 29.
Right. And and I will say this, at least the Bears are able to, they defense is usually always there.
He's 27. Go figure.
That's even better. 27 years old.
We are off today.
It's not the numbers day.
We old. We aging the hell out of guys.
So 27 years old. So man,
his body with those injuries is closer to 34.
So if you're the Bears and you say, hey man, listen, we at least be able to give you a defense that's going to keep you in every game. We just need that one guy to be able to get that offense down the road.
Hey, you got to beat this guy in camp.
And listen, do you want to play the Vikings twice a year?
Ooh.
Get a little bit of that vengeance.
They let you go. Sweetness.
We probably not
like Zimmer said, screw you.
Not going to sign Leonard Floyd. Probably not going to sign Danny Trevathan. And so money is probably going to be there. You didn't give like a crazy amount of money to Mitchell Trubisky.
You're going to cut Kyle Long.
Probably going to you're going to cut Kyle Long, no doubt.
Kyle Long's cut now.
Yes.
That's a
so
formality.
The Bears going to have some money to play around with.
Look, especially when you know you don't have to pay Mitch.
You know you got to exactly.
You just got to pay like Eddie. That's basically it.
Yeah, that's probably. Yep. That's the only guy you got to worry about. Like, yeah, let's make sure we got this guy.
Here, Eddie, here's 2 more for you.
Yep.
We had some more money in the bank account that we didn't think we was going to have at this point.
All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. That's a lot of Bears talk. But we're going to finish up the show right here. These guys are giggling in the background. D and Davis Show.
What's up, everybody? It's Cameron Smith from CBS 2 Chicago. You're listening to the D and Davis Show.
Let's start at the top because that's where less of the suspense is. LSU, as expected, has moved into the top spot. If you think Ohio State would win the game, that's a reasonable thing to think. But LSU's resume, combined with the weight it has played, most deserving to be at number 1.
There's no doubt. And listen, you can use your eye test to say they're really good, but you also use the body work and go, they're also really, really good.
Absolutely. Top 2 teams going to be LSU. I expect to see Ohio State at number 2, and we do. Buckeyes slip out of that top spot through no fault of their own. LSU went to Alabama and won, and they are rewarded for it. Ohio State still sitting there
let's
at
get
2.
To 3. Come on.
You know who 3 is. 3 is going to be Clemson. And the Tigers are 10-0. They're on their way to the ACC championship game. There is no reasonable way that Clemson could stumble before the playoff.
We thought that against North Carolina also, and they came close to stumbling. Now, Wake Forest, they have this week, who hasn't looked good. They lost last week, so we don't expect it.
All right. Let's see who number 4 is for the moment. Number 4 is Georgia.
D and Davis Show. All right, it's time to go ahead and wrap up this show right here. We're going to talk a little college football.
I'm going for mine now too. I'm sorry.
That was not because of what I said. Ken is watching the Bulls and the Knicks and laughing crazy about the Knicks. Shout out to Kobe White though, man. He got down tonight.
He just dropped RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett comes back like, I'm about to show y'all, and shoots a 3 in the air ball
for Canada.
Pathetically.
Here's Duke. No. All right. So college football playoff rankings came out. Ryan, do you have those up, or do you know them on top of your head?
LSU, number 1. You're number 2. Ohio State. You're number 3. Clemson. You're number 4. Georgia. And you're number 5. Alabama. Roll Tide.
Hey, how far did Penn State fall?
After Alabama, we have Oregon at number 6. Utah at 7. Minnesota at 8. Penn State right behind Minnesota at 9. Oklahoma at 10. And if you want top 15, Florida, Auburn, Baylor, Wisconsin, Michigan, Notre Dame 16.
Auburn is still that high up?
Auburn versus Georgia this week, too.
Oh, they won't be.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
Georgia trying to build up that resume.
Alabama needs
a Georgia loss.
Yeah, but they need an Auburn win over Georgia. So when they beat in the Iron Bowl, that's going to be the only victory that matters.
Yeah, but if Georgia gets a second loss, I don't think, as long as Alabama runs the table, they're going to have one less loss, and they're not going to be held out.
Yeah, but how do we know Minnesota still may not have a chance to get up in? Well, Minnesota's going to have.
Yeah, they're going to play Ohio State.
Yeah. So you're right.
Don't they play them in the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, they would have to at least.
Now, if they beat them in the Big Ten championship,
that changes a lot.
Then that changes a lot.
But if they lost, wouldn't you think Alabama would get in over Ohio State if Ohio State has one loss and Alabama has one loss?
No, because Ohio State's probably going to have still more strength.
You think?
Alabama hasn't played anybody. The only team they played,
LSU, though.
They
and they're going
lost
to play
to.
Auburn.
They lost.
They lost to, and they play. But Auburn may have 4 losses by the time.
But Ohio State plays Penn State weaker. Who else? Michigan?
Yeah, but where is Michigan been ranked at?
Michigan is.
They might be around 10. That's maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just saying, strength is. Listen, Alabama's
weak ass.
Alabama and Clemson have had real reschedules this year.
Michigan has 2 losses. They're at 15.
Give me real quick. Can you give me the Ohio State's schedule?
Yes.
The remaining schedule?
And just even the schedule in case there's anyone because they haven't played anybody yet.
Penn State is their next big one. Okay. I think that comes.
And that's with Young out.
Okay, so their next opponents, they have Rutgers this weekend.
Trash.
Penn State, and then Michigan. That's it.
Dude, that's still better than.
Right now, their only 2 big wins are Michigan State and Wisconsin.
Dude, that's better than Alabama. And you got to look at, but think about it. You got to look at what, and you're talking about Ohio State, right?
But look at some of these teams they played. Florida Atlantic, maybe Cincinnati's okay. Indiana, Miami, Ohio, Nebraska's trash. Northwestern's trash. Maryland's trash.
Look what you just said. They beat Wisconsin, is what you told me.
But they're not even that good.
Yeah, but not when did they beat Wisconsin?
On October 26th.
Okay, but the point. Look at where Wisconsin was at.
Yeah, they were up there.
People were talking about them,
but I think they came into that game with a loss.
Yeah, but people still were talking about them. But still, put it like this: they beat Wisconsin, as you just said. They're probably going to have Penn on there, who's been in the top 10, right?
Well, they have Penn State, who is number 9.
Okay, they're going to have Michigan,
who's
who at
15.
the beginning of the year, but the beginning of the year was probably in the top 10, though.
Probably.
Yeah, probably in the beginning of the year was in the top 10. So that's 3 top 10 teams.
But you can't look at this Michigan team the same. Like, and the committee hasn't been.
Right.
But the committee hasn't been doing that.
All I'm saying is Alabama, the only 2 wins that matter will be LSU's loss and Auburn, who may have 4 losses. That's all I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think that Michigan is going to look impressive to them,
I think there's
to the committee.
Alabama bias, which I don't want. I don't want Alabama in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I need a break. I need a break.
From your hectic New Year's schedule?
I just don't feel like, you know what? I don't feel like being emotionally involved in the championship this year.
Why can't Alabama be there and you not be emotionally involved?
It doesn't work like that. It gets me, because you know, I'm going to say it like this too. One, I don't think Alabama can run the table and win it all. And Alabama's championships have made it easy when they lose. But to lose like they did last year, and to not just lose, to see the dawning of these, or the cementing, because they already dawned, of these other dynasties. Like when you see Clemson beat Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
2 out of 3. And you see what perhaps LSU may be able to do. I don't know how long that Edgerrin stuff is going to work, because it's not like he's a good CEO, but it's not like he's the defensive guy or the offensive guy. And those guys end up getting jobs. So the question is going to be, how good is Edgerrin in replacing his offensive and defensive coordinators? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if this is the true turning of the tide as far as more competition in the SEC. Because remember, just 2 years ago, we thought this was going to be Georgia. Georgia was coming for us. We were like, oh, man. Wilson, because Kirby.
I love the us.
Kirby, yeah. Because, dude, what that Kirby defense did that night, it was like, man, I don't want to see them next year.
Well, they still in the hunt, though. Number 4, they can get a chance.
Number 5.
So they're going to only have...
Georgia's number 4, though.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about
No, Georgia.
Alabama's going to play one less top 25 team than Ohio State.
That's probably enough.
But then you got all
and they're
that
always think about
trash
this too.
around them.
Think about that. They're gonna want a Big Ten team in this.
How are we disrespecting the Pac-12? We don't think Oregon can get anything in the Big 12 championship?
No.
They're number 6.
Pac-12 is
They're number 6.
But
Pac-12
there's
is
not.
Nothing. All right, okay. All right.
I don't
It
want
would
to
have had to been Oklahoma if it was going to be somebody. But no,
The Big 12?
They're not playing anybody in that, or even a conference. Nobody's thinking about that. It's not. It's going to
But
be.
see, to your point that they want an Ohio State, wouldn't they want Alabama?
I think you would want both.
That's what I'm saying.
I think Alabama,
because you can have a Big Ten team.
I'm saying,
because remember in my scenario, if Minnesota beats Ohio State, they're up there, and then Alabama leapfrogs, so you still have a Big Ten team.
Yeah, you're gonna have. I mean, you know, you're gonna have one of them.
You're gonna have one of them.
So then you can't have Ohio State and Minnesota.
No,
I wouldn't want it to be like that.
But that's what I'm saying. If Minnesota beats Ohio State, they stay undefeated. Ohio State's 1 loss, Alabama's 1 loss. Who you going with?
Alabama.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you. I just don't want to see it.
Well, I guess I'm the real Roll Tide fan. Do you think Clemson or I guess if they lose a game,
who are they?
Do they have a
lose?
shot?
Who are they going to lose to?
I know, but if let's say that just magically happened,
they're in trouble because they don't play anybody.
They don't play nobody.
In ACC?
I was just say, who's in the ACC championship you thinking about?
Nobody. I don't even know who that would be. Duke?
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to make a joke.
Would be.
Ooh, watch out for Duke.
No,
South
it'd be
Carolina?
Virginia.
Yeah, okay.
They're 7-3 this year.
Yikes! They have a quarterback that maybe the Bears should look at.
The next best team in the ACC. They got.
Florida State's way down this year.
But South Carolina.
They get the Atlantic
South
Coast.
Carolina's SEC.
They got the Atlantic and they got the Coastal.
You're right.
Louisville, Duke, Florida State, Virginia,
that's why I
Virginia
say-
Tech. That's like their main ones.
Yeah, and they all in the Atlantic Division too.
It's like Clemson gets a pass. They come into the playoffs just fresh and free. Everybody else is beat up from the SEC and Big Ten.
Yeah.
Clemson's out here like, man, y'all been working all year.
Nothing from. I mean, I haven't said. Well, obviously my Hurricanes ain't doing nothing, but yeah, nothing from.
Are they even in professional collegiate athletics?
They got a above 500. They 6-4. They got Virginia. Virginia hasn't really done anything this year. Virginia Tech hasn't really done anything this year. As you said before, Florida State is all in the same division. Louisville, Boston College, NC State, Syracuse is kind of like what happened to Syracuse.
I think they came to earth. You know what's really interesting, though? Because college football has sucked, I would say, for the most part this year. There's a lot of teams that can't lose again. Like, LSU has to keep their undefeated. Ohio State can't lose.
They don't have to keep their undefeated. They can take a loss. They can lose in the championship.
It depends
game.
who, yeah.
No, they're in. Because they beat Alabama.
Well, I'm
'Cause
saying
even
if they tripped up before the SEC championship.
Even if they, but see, this is what I'm pointing. They would have tripped out if they lost to Alabama, but they still, because of the people that they've beaten, would have had a strong case to be in. Like they, as far as the top people who've played someone,
LSU has played people,
and now they beat Alabama. They had 3 games before that.
I'm with you.
Now they beat Alabama, so LSU can lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game. They're in.
Okay, so Clemson has to win. Georgia has to win. Alabama has to win. I guess Oregon has to win.
They do. Oregon does have to win.
But I don't see them having a shot.
They don't have a shot.
Minnesota is the only other one, right?
Yeah. If they go in and they beat Ohio State,
yeah, they have to go undefeated, so they can't lose.
Who's Minnesota's next game though? Who do they play next? So they play Iowa's next.
Number 20 Iowa.
Yeah, number 20 Iowa. Then Northwestern. Yeah,
Minnesota's losing one of these next 3 games.
And then they play Wisconsin.
They are not going undefeated into the Big Ten championship.
I don't know about that, bro. Question is, can Wisconsin get back on track and beat them?
All 3 games are on the road the rest of the way.
No, they don't. No, Wisconsin is at Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Ooh, that helps. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
They're going to trip up. You can hear it right here first.
Okay.
They're tripping up once.
I mean, you don't think he said anything prolific.
Well, Ken does. He keeps making this face.
You think Minnesota can go undefeated?
I think it's possible.
But do you think it will? Obviously, it's possible. They just have to go 3-0.
The coaches got them pumped up and going. I think it's possible. I'm not saying it's not. Because, I mean, think about the teams. What you just named Iowa, Northwestern, and
Wisconsin.
And a Wisconsin team that's in a funk.
They're number 14, I believe, right now. Number 13 right now.
Yeah, there's.
I just don't think Wisconsin or Minnesota's that good.
You just hate on the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, I do. I don't like the Big Ten that much.
How happy you all that Lovie Smith and the final Illini, going bowling?
Lovie's stroking his beard.
That's good for the Illini. I'm happy for Lovie.
I'm happy because one, it's funny. You hear it changes the narrative on Lovie because you hear people like Lovie's sitting there, he's doing it, the most best Illinois coach, blah blah blah, because it was so much hate on him. For him to do what he's done is fantastic. Illinois may never be great, but it was a question: could Lovie get his defense going? Lovie finally has it going. I think
and smartly went to that spread.
Yeah, I think a lot of us love us some Lovie. So it's good to see him have success. He was going to get probably fired this year. And I'll say this too.
He stuck with him.
I didn't think if Lovie didn't turn it around like this, I didn't think they should fire him.
Yeah, who are you going to get?
Exactly.
Who's the guy you're bringing in?
Exactly.
That was my big issue because it was like, who the hell? Like, we talk about these teams, like, who do y'all think y'all are? Like,
are you bringing in Minnesota's head coach?
Illinois, like, who the hell do you think
Northern
you are?
Illinois' head coach?
Listen, you should exhaust the hell out of Lovie just to prove he couldn't do it because you can't get anybody. Don't lie to yourself and think you can get. Find out if the guy you got, you can actually do it because at least it's proven. No, it wasn't proven in the college level, but he proved it in the pros. So I didn't think they should have fired, even though he was deserving of being fired.
Yeah.
I didn't think with the stature of that program, they had the right to fire him because I didn't think they was going to be able to get a candidate who may have the potential that Lovie seems to have at this point. Next year it can all go to put, but I'm sure his recruiting class has definitely been.
I think his recruiting class is probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I was going to say Illinois shouldn't be worried about Lovie. They should be focusing on their basketball program, which should be trying to get into the tournament for the first time in God knows how long.
That too.
That's their niche, though.
Yeah, basketball is their
Get
niche.
basketball right, and then you can worry about Lovie and football.
Oh, you don't remember Greg Hardy and Cimarron Rice.
Yeah, boy. Hey, listen, my high school.
I forgot what Hardy was that?
There's been quite a few Illinois players that went out to be good.
My high school years, man, watching Illini football was pretty damn good. That was pretty good.
Is that when they went to that Sugar Bowl with Kittner or something? Or Kittle?
You said
Kittner. No.
It's something like that.
No, it was.
Right? Kirk Kittner, I think?
Yeah. Ooh, you said Kittner.
It's been a while. It's been a long time. It's been a super long time.
But, I mean, if you think about it.
Beat Ohio State Trestle.
If Lovie can put a box around Illinois and still with his name cherry pick 4-star recruits from other regions.
Because the one thing you can do, Lovie can coach you up.
And the thing is, too,
especially in college, man, they don't listen to Lovie. They're going to love Lovie.
The only person you got to worry about is Ohio State in the Big Ten. Not to say, look, I'm not saying it's not strong and there's not other teams, but that's a team you basically know, man, we ain't got nothing for them.
They got I think to me, that West is so winnable. You got to be like, man, I got to be the best Big Ten team in the West.
You're right.
Yeah.
That thing is
you lucked
so
up
winnable.
With Michigan and Ohio State not being over there. You did. You lucked
big
up
time.
So you're right. It's no question you should basically be like, I don't have to worry about anybody until I get to the Big Ten championship game. And I have to face Ohio State.
Let me dominate those Gophers.
Yep.
And Rutgers.
And Iowa's 20, and Illinois has a better record than Iowa.
Yeah, but what's their strength?
I know.
Yeah.
All right, hey, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at D and Davis Show. Once again, it's at D and Davis Show. Facebook.com/D and Davis Show. iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Music, Stitcher, the TuneIn app. More on Anchor. We'll kick you over to Spotify and the YouTube. All right. Download, subscribe, rate, share, all the good stuff with the podcast, man. We really enjoy that. The fact that you rolling with us. Hey, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Demons1, DEMONZE1. Ken's on Twitter at That's Davis, and Ryan's on Twitter at Ryan B. Ski. And I was on the Jam Monday, so I put out, thanks to my brother right here, man. Ken was able to get some snippets and put that out there. Really appreciate it, man.
Anytime.
Getting that out there, man. So, we diversify what we talk about, man. Hot topics and sports. So make sure you follow all the social media platforms and keep rolling with us.
Hey, we always appreciate it. Don't do anything stupid before you hear from us again.
Keep your hands to yourself.